You're listening to Your Calm Parenting Path. I'm your host Nina, a mindful parenting coach and mum, here to help you go from overwhelmed and reactive to calm, confident and connected with your kids. This show is for parents who want to raise their children with more patience, less stress and a whole lot more joy. Because small shifts make a big impact and you can build the parenting life you've always wanted. If you want to see what I'm up to, follow me on Instagram at Mindful Parenting Lifestyle, and don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's get started. Today's episode is a really special one because we are talking to someone who has walked the parenting path, someone who's been in the thick of it, navigating big feelings, daily chaos, and all the emotions that come with being a mum. Today I'm joined by the amazing Emily Fogg, founder of Wise Owl Tuition, a beautiful service that supports children with learning difficulties like dyslexia, ADHD and autism. Emily is passionate about making learning accessible and engaging for all kids, but today she's not here in her professional capacity. Instead, she's here as a mum. Emily joined the Mindful Parenting Coaching Program last year. She was parenting her 3-year-old daughter and halfway through the program discovered she was pregnant with her second child. It was a really big season of change, and I'm so grateful she's here to talk about what that time was like, what drew her to the program, and how she navigated parenting with more mindfulness and calm, even in the chaos. Emily, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
It is very exciting. But let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Can you share a little bit about what was going on in your parenting life when you decided to join the Mindful Parenting Coaching programs? What were some of the challenges that you were facing?
My daughter had some kind of challenging behaviours, or what I thought were challenging behaviours. It could just be age appropriate. But she was having a lot of tantrums, getting into a lot of power struggles, and I didn't want to just revert to like smacking or anything like that. I really wanted to make sure that, I was building a positive relationship with her and that we could not go back to those kind of like those methods.
What drew you to this program? Was there like a particular moment or challenge that made you think, oh, I need this?
There were lots of challenges. One of the ones was like getting to daycare in the morning when I had to be at work and things, and she would refuse to get dressed and refuse to put shoes on and just get in the car, and everything was a battle. But once we got there, she was so happy to be at daycare and she loved it. She had a lot of friends. But it was just that initial like getting ready, and that was really challenging for me, especially when you're trying to get yourself ready and get everything you need ready for work, and you've got a deadline of time you need to be there, and everybody knows what that's like. But it was just really stressful.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I've done a podcast episode on getting out of the house in the morning, and it's still, even for me with all these skills, getting out of the house can be so hard, right?
Yeah.
They're on a different time frame to us. They've got no idea.
Yeah.
So what were some of the biggest light bulb moments for you during our time together in the coaching program?
I really loved that I needed to work my own mindfulness and being calm first, because to me it was like, she's the one with the problem.
Yeah.
Not me. I'm trying to modify her behaviour, but not thinking about what I'm doing that could set her up for success or failure. And that was like a huge light bulb moment for me. But I also felt a bit silly because that's just that type of thing that we were taught when I was becoming a teacher. Like you set the tone for the classroom, you set the kids up for success with their behaviour by the way that you manage the classroom. And I was like, I don't know why I couldn't apply that to at home.
Yeah,
but it's really different when you're dealing with your own kids and it's 24/7, and it's totally different.
So getting an understanding that, you're kind of the leader of the train, as it were, the driver of the train in setting the tone and trying to look at ways that you can help her to change her behaviour, but it all starts with you first.
Yeah.
So how did the tools or strategies that we talked about in the mindful parenting coaching, how did it shift things for you, either in the moment or more generally as a parent?
So I really reflected on my stress levels and that I wasn't, I used to do lots of meditation and things before kids. After kids, you just don't have time and you're trying to fit everything in. And so I really love doing even just the short mindful meditations and how, just 5 or 10 minutes, how much that could change our day and how I was feeling. And then we'd have a better day. And I just love that.
Yeah.
And learning all the different mindfulness techniques. It was really beneficial, not just in terms of parenting, but even just for my own self.
Yeah. It's amazing how the skills can transform other parts of your life as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How did your parenting change over the course of the program?
So definitely and when something could happen, I would think about what I've been learning with you and, how could I change what I would normally do. So instead of reacting straight away, I'd be like, okay, thinking back to what I've learned with you, what's the best course of action right now, and not necessarily responding straight away. And sometimes that meant her behaviour might go on a bit longer, like if it's a tantrum, but then in the end she was having less tantrums by the end of the course because I was setting her up for success and using lots of the tools that you taught me, like using fun and being silly voices or all the different things that we learned about, but especially using those ones in the morning to be able to smooth the morning and get going was really great.
Yeah. And I really liked what you said is that in the moment at the start, the tantrums seemed like they would go a bit longer.
Yeah.
But overall, the number of tantrums really reduced and got shorter.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for people to accept when they first start a different parenting approach, isn't it? They want children to just do what they want them to do straight away. But remembering that it's a long game.
Yeah.
And so the time that you're putting in now is going to help in the future.
Yeah.
To make things easier in the future. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad that I did the course when I did because, Nina, we've had a really challenging year of things going on in our personal life. And that's obviously affected Hannah because, little kids, they worry and things like that. And even though you try to protect them from what's going on, they know when something's up. And that's often when they play up as well because they want that security from you.
100%.
So using those tools has really helped me, especially like such a stressful time, to be able to cope with that because she regressed a lot in some of her behaviours, especially like quality and things like that. And that's been really challenging, but just being able to approach it from a mindful parenting perspective has just helped so much.
Yeah, I was going to ask, my next question was all about, it's been almost a year, I think, since you started the program, so about 6 months since you finished. Have you been able to continue the tools that you learnt and have you continued to see changes in your child? Right, I often think when people do a course, they do the course and then it's done and they finish it and they don't think about it again. So I'm interested in how you've been able to continue with the mindful parenting once the program's finished.
Yeah, so obviously, there's ebbs and flows. So sometimes you go back to your old habits. But when I notice like a particular issue is occurring often, and our latest one has been over TV and how much screen time she's been getting and what shows she can watch. And she's been really quite challenging and pushing back on, no, I want more TV time or I'm going to watch this show that we don't think is appropriate. There's some kids that she watches and I don't think their behaviour is very good, so I don't like her to watch those ones, but she thinks they're great.
It's always those ones. It's always those ones.
I've been able to use those tools and now that she's a little bit older, a year older, I've been able to kind of negotiate a little bit with her and talk to her about, we're not going to watch this particular show because what we do, this child does these things, which we talk about red choices and green choices. She's making a red choice and then sometimes when you watch that, then you make red choices. So, so we've been able to explain that to her instead of just, stop whinging and go to your room, and being able to have these discussions. It's helped her understand why we're not letting her watch certain shows.
So it's really about you've been able to talk to her more about what she's watching.
Yeah.
Explain it to her now she's a bit older and come up with some win-win problem solving to come up with a solution that you're both happy with.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. And I think TV can be such a struggle, especially as they get older and they want to watch the shows that their friends are watching. Having some tools in your toolkit to be able to navigate that so that you can help her understand why she's watching or not watching those shows. Very cool.
Yeah, and I can see it's going to be something that's going to continue because she's already asked me for an iPad and to play games on my phone and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's really fun.
Yes. But what I really like about this program is that we do the things now and with the aim of that when they're older, coming into teenagers, they'll be more willing to listen to our advice because we've been using these kind and calm approaches to how we talk to them.
Yeah.
And so when she asks for an iPad, she doesn't scream and moan about it all the time.
Yeah.
She's able to accept it. So I think that's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I was surprised how well she accepted it. And I was just like, no, you're not old enough yet. And she was like, oh, okay then. I'm like, I was like, wow.
Gold.
Or maybe she just doesn't want it that much. Just
Yeah. That's really cool. Was there a specific moment when we were doing the program where you really realised, wow, this is working?
Yeah, I definitely had a few. And again, going back to those mornings, she would argue about what to wear to daycare. She wanted to choose her own clothes, but it would just be a faff. She'd go through like 100, not 100, but it seemed like fit choices. And, no, I don't want to wear this one and I want to wear something that's in the wash. And so... Yeah.
Oh, no.
She's obsessed with dinosaurs. So it was like, the favourite blue dinosaur T-shirt that you can't wear every day because you need to wash it.
Yes.
So, yeah, just that was the biggest one. I was able to kind of, in the end, get her to choose from. I would put out 2 choices for her.
Yeah.
So she could choose from those 2.
Yeah.
And explain why. Like, okay, we can't go through all the T-shirts in your cupboard to choose the one that you want. This is your options today. And then we're going. So that was really helpful in getting ready quicker and just making a bit of fun. It would be like, okay, let's do like a little bit of a fashion thing.
Yeah.
Making it fun and not, just hurry up and get dressed and, I don't have time for this.
Excellent. Okay, so were there any changes in your family dynamic as a whole?
I think we're definitely all calmer. So my husband was able to, even though he didn't do the course, and I think it would be great if he did as well. Like I really recommend doing it with your partner, so both on the same page, and I think that would help.
Yep.
But yeah, I was able to explain to him some of the techniques I'm using and why, and then he would try them, and then like when we're both doing it, it worked really well. And yeah, overall, just less arguments, less tantrums. Everyone's happier.
Yeah, excellent. Yep. I think doing it with a partner is really helpful, as you said, to get you on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep. So as someone who supports children professionally, did the tools or any mindset shifts from the program carry over into your work at Wise Owl Tuition?
I think doing the mindfulness always helps, like reducing your stress helps with everything in your life. So that definitely helped with work. It's really funny though, because like I kind of touched on it earlier, I would do a lot of these things in my professional work, but I never applied it to home. It did remind me of the things that I'd learned as a teacher, managing a class. It did bring back all that training, just different working with kids one-on-one or in small groups as well. There's not so much behaviour that you need to manage. And often when they're only seeing you once a week, it's totally different to managing a class all day that you have every day. Yeah, it just reminded me of all those things, and being less stressed really helps.
It's overall health as well, isn't it? Really, the less stress impacts so many other factors of your life.
Yeah.
Has your understanding of children's emotional regulation or learning needs deepened in any way through what you've learned through the coaching?
Yeah. It's really interesting about emotional regulation and how it all works. And it's made me go and learn more about it and even about it for myself as well. So I found that really useful. And it tied in at the time, just around the time that I started, I also found out that I have ADHD. So,
yes.
So finding that out and then learning about how that affects your emotional regulation and just being able to self-reflect everything I was learning all at that time, I think it really supported me with that as well, because I was learning about, why I do the things that I do. And then perhaps why Hannah might, she's ADHD as well. Then looking at all of those things together, I think it really it made me take a step back and think about why are we all doing the things that we do? And, why is sometimes, this blows up and it's a huge tantrum or an argument, and then other days it's smoothly, and just reflect what I can do to make sure things are smooth instead of, not great.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting intake to find out that you had or diagnosed with ADHD at the same time. And, about how the brain is working and how you're responding to situations. I'm really kind of glad that that's when you did the course, so you could kind of integrate the learnings from both angles.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I think it was serendipity there.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Emily, how did you find doing the program where you had learnings and you had coaching and reading? How did you find that shaped your learning and understanding of the concepts?
I really enjoyed it, because I think if I did the course without a coach, I would have done it, but I don't think I would have implemented it in quite the same way. So having the accountability of, okay, like on Tuesday, I'm going to be chatting with Nina, so I need to make sure I get this done, and think about, questions I could ask you. It was great to be able to ask questions and like, this is what's going on at home. Can you please give me some advice?
Real-time feedback.
Well, like, I tried this technique and it kind of worked, but, maybe next time I'll do this instead. Or it was really helpful, and I really enjoyed our sessions together.
Cool.
And it wouldn't have been the same without that coaching.
Yeah, I think having that one-on-one support and real-time support can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So you can tweak things along the way as you're going. So that's really good to hear. So what would you say to another parent who's where you were, a year ago before you started the program? They might be overwhelmed, snappy, exhausted. What would be your advice to them?
I would say just do the course and listen to what Nina has to say and try and implement what you can, but also give yourself grace. Like, you're not going to be perfect. No one's ever perfect, right?
Exactly.
But it's all about learning and practicing those little steps, and it does work, and it will make your home life so much happier. Everybody happier, including you. And I think that is such a wonderful thing to do, to learn about how we can parent in different ways, perhaps in different ways that was modeled to us as kids. Because like you said, we all want those teenagers to come and talk to us and be able, when their problems get bigger, we want to be able to solve them together, rather than kids not wanting to talk to us or doing sneaky things.
Exactly. That's the long game, isn't it? We want to have those great relationships with our kids as they get older.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great advice. Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
Final question.
Yeah.
Is there one small but powerful takeaway that you still use today?
It really is just to, in the moment when I can feel that I'm getting angry or stressed out, just pause and be like, it's not the end of the world, and take a breath. Like, how can I get this to go a better way? And that's really hard in the moment. But if you can do that, it really will change your dynamic in your home.
What a lovely note to end on. Thank you so much, Emily. I'm really happy that we had this opportunity to kind of talk and to reflect on your mindful parenting journey, because I think from an outsider's point of view, it's really hard to see what the changes can be.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing a course online or listening to someone speak. Actually having that coaching and having that support, I think you can really see how you've changed over the course of the program and how things have improved for you. So I want to thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Nina. It was great to chat.
We'll talk again soon.
And if what we've talked about today really resonated with you and you'd like to hear more about mindful parenting coaching, book in a 15-minute discovery call with me, and I can take you through the process and we can decide together if it's going to work for you and your family. Thanks for listening to Your Calm Parenting Path. I am so glad you're here, and I hope this episode gave you something useful to take into your parenting journey. If you'd like to dive deeper, sign up to my mailing list at mindfulparentinglifestyle.com.au for more tips and insights, or book a free chat to learn how we can work together. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. I look forward to speaking with you next time on Your Calm Parenting Path.